I like the energy here already. So today I'm going to challenge you on what you really believe. And I want to start by saying, my wife Barbara over here, holding consciousness, and I had a conversation the other day, and I asked her, what is special about me? And she said, well, your superpower, my superpower actually, wait a minute, before I go further, is I am the Green Lantern in another reality. Here's my lantern wearing. Okay, but she says that I hold the space for other people to transform. And so I want you to keep that in mind today. So if I stumble anywhere during this talk or have any problems, I'm the one being transformed, and I need a second to catch up. Okay? So I have a chair here that I'm going to sit down in because I want to feel like I'm at home with you guys. And now I'm right at eye level instead of standing above everybody. I like this better. In the world today, we look around, and I think it's very turbulent. We've had so many things go on in the world. We've had hurricanes and typhoons and floods, fires, gun violence, greed, hatred, bigotry, racism, all these things. The list just keeps going on and on and on. And it's not like we haven't had these in the past, but they seem to be heightened for some reason right now. And we're noticing them more and more. It's like there's no common agreement on what it is that leads the world into a place where conditions are such that everybody's well cared for. Where people can live in prosperity, in joy, in peace, and love. Those are pretty nice things. I think I'm kind of naive because I think everybody should have that. But it doesn't appear to be happening that way. So I did a lot of research in my life and talked to different people about different things. And one of the things I found out is religion back in ancient times. I'm talking about way, way back when people became aware of themselves and were starting to do things, was a way to create a community, a place where people came together and had safety because they were together instead of being individual doing their own thing. They came together as a group, and they created laws that supported themselves, like no killing, no stealing, stuff like that we might have seen maybe in the Ten Commandments if you were a Christian before. All these things happened so they could feel safe. It was really about the individual before that, and there was no thing like religion around. And so a lot of the risks in the world seem to be able to be mitigated because before that, I'll tell you, death was pretty potent and quick. People didn't live to be very long. So we now point to religion by saying God, Spirit, the divine. You can fill in the blank. There are thousands of names that we use to talk about religion and God and how that all fits together. But in the ancient times, they didn't have those words. Or if they did, I couldn't see any results of that. They would look out and see the sun. And that would be what they would refer to. Or they would say Mother Earth. Or the tree of life. Or the music singing in the background. But those are all the things that happened because that's where the demographic was. That's how they grew up. That's what they knew. So I wanted to bring into another concept into this, religion and science. Okay, science and religion were used to explain the seemingly, or the known and the seemingly unknown. And it's a concept that kind of unfolds itself as we go along in history, and you'll get to see more of how that works as I give you a few examples. But we've got to go from ancient times to fast forward to 1928. 1928, Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, wrote the Science of Mind text. And here's what he had to say, or one of the things he had to say. We all look forward to the day when science and religion will walk hand in hand through the visible to the invisible. Science knows nothing of opinion, but recognizes a government of law whose principles are universal. Yet any scientist who refuses to accept intangible values has no adequate basis for the values he has already discovered. Revelation must keep faith with reason and religion with law, while intuition is ever spreading its wings for greater flights. And science must justify faith in the invisible. That's the very first paragraph of the first chapter of the Science of Mind text. It's a very powerful paragraph because it brings into play everything in the universe and says, think about this. Think about where we are and why things are happening. Question what's going on. What do you really know? And so I bring it up because I see that there's many things done in the name of religion now and through history that are kind of counterproductive to that first idea I had of prosperity, joy, peace, and love. Okay? Throughout history, we've, including today actually, there's been religious wars fought for the simple reason of trying to be right. Okay? Trying to be right. My religion is the correct religion. It is the right one. You're wrong. You need to change to mine. How's that ever going to work? I don't know how you believe, but I know I don't think that can work at all. But one thing I wanted to point out was that, through all my studies, and I have a degree in religious studies, all the texts, the Quran, the Bible, everything, I can't find anything that says or points to being right. It's like there's nothing there. And I don't know where we've twisted that logic or twisted that belief in ourselves that we have to be right. There's something missing somewhere in there. And so, in science, we seemingly have proven facts based on our current knowledge and understanding that help us live to the best possible way we can. But Ernest Holmes pointed out in that very first paragraph that, or he inferred it anyway, that religion and science are different sides of the same coin. They're providing stability for each other, allowing for growth and balance in whatever we're doing. So I'm going to give you an example here of a scientific fact that's kind of going to fall into religion as I talk about it. Scientists recently discovered biophotons. And the inference in that is in the brain, there is light. And what we refer to as biophotons are the neurons in our brain firing off photons of light. And that's why they call them biophotons. There's a certain correlation that's being brought up inside of that fact that says, okay, if the biophotons and light are being produced, is that changing our consciousness? Is it something that is making us more aware? Is it changing how we're thinking and what we believe? Well, could it be as simple as the sun or God, and we're trying to figure out what is real, what is science, what is religion, what is our belief? So let's keep looking. Think about all the texts that you've read, all the different things that have been important to you in your religious upbringing or your spiritual growth. And I see that since the dawn of time, we've had reports of saints and ascended masters, enlightened individuals, people who really are beyond what we recognize as ourselves, that seem to do miracles in the world. And they've all been depicted with these like shining, glowing lights around their heads. Okay? And, if you go back to ancient Greece or ancient Rome, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, whatever religion you can name, they all have a similar picture. And you see the pictures in the Holy Scriptures. You see them if you go to different churches and temples and mosques, you see different depictions of this light around them. I remember growing up as a Catholic little kid, and it was called a halo then. I don't know what you call it now, but if they were as enlightened as described, maybe that shining circle was just a higher consciousness. Maybe they operated at a higher frequency. I don't know. Maybe it's the production of biophotons. So now we have all these possibilities. We're still searching. Always asking questions. Maybe these individuals produced light or these higher levels of biophotons at a stronger intensity because they were enlightened. If so, is there a correlation between the two, biophotons and consciousness? I don't know. The word enlightenment has the word light inside of it. Does that suggest consciousness has something to do with light? Maybe. So now maybe we have a basis to think about science and religion, not as something separate, but as something synergistically allowing for growth and expansion. So take a moment to think about what you believe. I could make a case for science, and I could make a case for religion, or I could blend the two together. But that's not why I'm talking about this. I invite you to consider what growth and expansion lead to. In science, growth and expansion lead to a way of life that's easier for everyone. Or at least that's the way I think. You might say we live in prosperity, joy, peace, and love. Because that's what we're truly trying to achieve, is something greater, right? Although there are times when there's unintended consequences from science, where jobs are lost to automation or maybe to outsourcing or whatever. But in reality, it's really an opportunity, a doorway opening for us to look into the world and see what is possible for me now. What can I do that's different, that's going to make a difference, that's going to open me up to more expansion, more growth? Now, it's one of those things where you can get stuck too. If you don't want to step through that doorway, you don't want to look. But I think that most of us are curious enough that we want to see what's out there. In religion, growth and expansion is what it's all about. It really is. Because if we're really honest with ourselves, we're looking for something that's really bigger than ourselves, that we might contain within us, but is bigger. We teach that God is everywhere present all the time. And we know that all expressions of divinity come through us, each one of us, everyone, even the people we don't like. Okay? Some would even say God is experiencing his own divinity through each of us in every moment. The inference is that growth and expansion are essential to the divine to know its true magnificence. For me, it's really important to continue growing. Hence I was just at Naropa University finishing a degree at 62 years old. Okay? I think I kind of would die. I'd curl up in a ball if I wasn't still learning and growing and trying to open up new doorways. And just like a scientist or deeply religious important, it's important to question ourselves on what we believe. And then be able to discern the truth for ourselves and be able to discern the truth when other people are speaking their truth. Because I guarantee you, they're probably not the same. We have to find our own balance. We have to find the way we are both sides of that coin and listen in a way that allows for those differences to keep occurring and be able to change as necessary. We're only able to do this, though, when we look within. My last point is that sometimes circumstances, facts, feelings create something almost impossible to believe. That doesn't mean that we aren't open to the topic. It just means that we have to find a way to become neutral when we hear new information and see how it might fit or might not fit. Let me give you an example. God is an atheist. Now, looking around the room, I'm seeing some different faces going on here. So I know that didn't, everybody didn't hear it the same way I said it. So are you upset? Are you already saying, no way? What are you thinking about, Jim? Come on. Maybe you've already started thinking about it and going, where's he going with this? Well, here's where I'm going. One of my favorite comedians is Bill Maher. He's a liberal comedian. Let me start off by saying that. And he's got lots of free material right now because of the current administration. Okay? But he doesn't leave anyone unscathed. Liberals are targets also, just like everybody in the world. Anybody who has a different idea and they bring out an idea and they can't really support it very well, he's always poking fun at them. He is a man who speaks his mind and makes you question whatever it is you think you really know. Bill is an atheist. So one of the things he pokes fun at is religious beliefs, particularly God. And when a guest brings up a point about religion in a discussion they're having on some other topic, Bill's quick to point out maybe that's not true, and he makes fun of it, but he does it in a way that makes you pause and question what you know or believe. It's that questioning that helps us grow and expand, doing the work that leads us to a deeper understanding and knowing of God. Because we are being triggered in that moment to, what is it we truly believe about God? So God must be an atheist. If you're open by questions an atheist creates within you, just as you're open to growth and expansion through your own questioning. Isn't it nice to know all there is God? So after having all this new information, what do you believe? Are you challenging yourself to open up and create growth and expansion in your life? I believe challenging our beliefs will always lead to greater fulfillment. Just as anchoring ourselves in a truth will give us an illusion of fulfillment unless we explore it further. So with the variety of ways we can perceive our experience, how will you believe now? Let us pray. With each breath, we deepen our experience of the unknown, the divine, the all that is, the source of our heart and breath. We live in this world connected through our knowledge, our understanding, our beliefs, and our love. For we live our lives fully and completely embracing the divine in each and every moment, for it is within us all, and we reach out to that connection as we smile at each other, as we think the thoughts that are of our beautiful friends and family. I know today that each of us has heard exactly what we needed to hear and has opened up a new doorway for expansion and growth. For God always, always is here in us, as us, and for us, allowing us to experience something new. I say thank you, God, for bringing forth this wonderful moment in time, allowing us to pause, to think, to be, and open up a new doorway for each of us in our own way. So with a grateful heart, I just let it go, knowing that everything is already done in God's time. And we say together, and so it is.